Okay, on behalf of the physics department and IQAC of Gurudas College, I welcome all of you to this webinar. Actually, this is the sixth webinar in the Gurudas College Webinar 2020 series. The title of the webinar is Career Opportunities for Students in Physics. The speaker is Dr. Joy Mitra from IISER Thiruvananthapuram. This webinar is totally student-centric. In this webinar,
please stop. I think there is no viewer till now. What there is? If there is problem,
I don't think so. How can it be possible? Have you sent the mails? You have sent the mails to everyone.
mail with link.
Okay, just get us
Yes.
offline.
Please start.
Start.
Please start from the beginning. Okay.
Okay. On behalf of the physics department and IQAC of Gurudas College, I welcome all of you to this webinar. This is the sixth webinar in the series of Gurudas College Webinar 2020. The title of this webinar is Career Opportunities for Students in Physics. The speaker is Dr. Joy Mitra from IISER Thiruvananthapuram. This webinar is totally student-centric. In this webinar, the speaker is going to give the students an outline of future prospects after graduation and post-graduation in physics. The speaker is a good orator and a outstanding researcher with publication in many reputed journals like Nature Communication. Without further delay, I welcome all of you once again to this webinar. Enjoy the webinar and thank you.
Okay, so shall I start, Kaushik?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, Kaushik, thank you for your kind introduction. Okay, I am Joy, and I am from IISER Thiruvananthapuram, as Kaushik mentioned. Kaushik and I go a long way back since our days in Presidency College, where we were both students of BSc Physics honors. So whatever I'm going to speak of today, both of us have actually gone through. Okay, newer opportunities have come up than the days of mid-90s, which is always welcome. And it obviously gives us a very different perspective on where we are and what we want to become tomorrow. Okay, so without wasting your time further, I will kind of share my screen, and you'll be able to see the presentation that I'm going to talk on. Okay, so just give me a second. Kaushik, I'm sorry, I just got logged out of the whole thing.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. ওনাকে ফুল স্ক্রিন করে দিন ওকে আমাকে ব্যাকস্টেজে আমাকে হ্যাঁ
Hello, Kaushik, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Please continue. Yes, sir. Please continue. No problem.
Okay. So sorry for the interruption. And so let us begin the talk for today. I have titled my talk "Career Opportunities for Bachelor's and Master's Scholars." Okay, as I told you, I'm Joy Mitra from the School of Physics at IISER Thiruvananthapuram, which is the capital city of Kerala, in this southern part of India. Okay, I have given my email ID and a link to my website. So in case you want to follow it up later or you want to write me an email, please suit yourself. Okay, so first a couple of disclaimers. Okay, so as a part of this talk, I don't think I can give you solutions. Okay, but what I will be actually attempting is basically to give you information. Okay, information and my experience together, which might give you insights such that you are better able to contextualize the opportunities which already exist. Okay, hopefully it will help you understand yourself, okay, the way you comprehend this information, your circumstances, what you want to become as a part of your career, etc. And finally, I also hope that that you will ask questions. I may not have the answers always, okay, but that should not stop you from asking. So please ask the questions as and when you want, okay, and I will try to answer them as best of my ability. Okay, so we'll start off with a brief introduction of IISERs, the institute that I come from. So as of now, today, there are 7 IISERs in India, okay, at various parts of India. In the west, you have Pune. In the east, you have IISER Kolkata. And on the north, you have IISER Mohali, IISER Thiruvananthapuram in the south, IISER Bhopal in the middle, IISER Tirupati and IISER Berhampur are the newest additions in 2015 and 2016. So over the last span of like 10 years, we have the sprouting of 7 new institutes. The basic purpose of these new institutes is to focus on research in science, in pure sciences. And that's what we mostly do. Speaking of IISER Thiruvananthapuram itself, we have a couple of different academic programs that we actually run. So we have the BSMS program, where students primarily enter after 10+2. It's a 5-year program. And then we have 2 postgraduate programs, graduate and postgraduate level programs, known as the integrated PhD and the PhD program. The integrated PhD program actually takes in people after their bachelor's in physics, chemistry, maths, biology. In physics, chemistry, maths, biology. And then we also have the PhD program, which is a post-master's degree program, both of which are, at the end of the day, doctoral programs. The difference being that in the integrated PhD programs, you have an integrated master's program also. Okay, hence the eligibility is a bachelor's degree. So we'll move on. Before I again go on to the main part of the career guidance, I would like to draw your attention to a very interesting report that I came across last year in 2019. Now, this report has been published by the World Bank, which is a premier financial institution, and I'm sure all of you are quite aware of the World Bank. And this report in 2019 is entitled "The Changing Nature of Work." It's a very interesting report, and I have given you also the forward. I've also given you the forward to that report, the first page, which shows the forward and the contents. And it essentially focuses on what is the changing nature of work, how work has actually changed drastically over the last decade and is going to change further over the next decade or so. It is very relevant to India simply because of a very particular demographic. You see, in India is a very young country. The average age of India is extremely low. So by the 2018 statistics, 65% of the Indian population was below 35 years, 50% was below 25 years, and 30% of the Indian population is below 14 years. So over the next decade, all these people are going to progress through the workforce. So this very young workforce will obviously make the workplace, getting a job, extremely competitive. It will make it not only extremely competitive, it will also have to adapt to the newer and newer kinds of jobs that will come into the market. So I would advise all of you to actually take a look at this very interesting report. And what it basically tells us also is that children currently in primary school will work in jobs as adults that do not even exist today. So we can't even forecast what will be those jobs that these people in the primary school today in 20-25 years time over the next 2 decades, the kind of jobs that they should aspire to get recruited to. It has already started. That change has already started. And therefore, you people who are kind of at the brink of entering the job market, completing your degrees, it's very relevant that you understand that what kind of skills you actually need to encompass, you need to be skilled in, which has resale value tomorrow. So a couple of points. From our experience as researchers of science, what we see is that research today has become significantly more interdisciplinary and data intensive. And we live in an age where we see that we have a future of automation, where most of the jobs that we manually do today are going to be taken over by intelligent robots. Much of manufacturing that is undertaken today, if you look at the industry, has already been taken over by robots. And it is going to be increasingly so. So therefore, we have to again go back and understand that what skills should we have which are of resale value. So what are the skills of tomorrow? The skills of tomorrow will obviously be the scientific and the technological know-how, but we'll also have to develop our analytic skills. We'll have to develop our cognitive skills, where we can actually go out and solve complex problems, where you kind of slowly build your ability for critical thinking. You'll also have to inculcate socio-behavioral skills, such as teamwork. You'll also have to collaborate increasingly with a lot of people. So therefore, this should help you contextualize again that just knowledge is increasingly not good enough. You have to buffet that knowledge, that core knowledge, your scientific knowledge, with many more skills which are required for success in life. But your training in basic sciences, you are all students of a Bachelor of Physics, a BSc Honors, and MSc Physics. So you're all students of basic sciences. So your training in basic sciences actually gives you a lot of advantage over others. So the first big advantage which a training in pure sciences actually give you is flexibility. It gives you skills which are extremely flexible and applicable to various areas of science, which I'll try to show you in terms of your career options. That as a graduate of physics, your scope is not physics alone. Your scope actually is much broader than saying that I have to be a physicist, or I have to actually stick to areas which are very closely related to physics. So let's come to the career. Okay. Now, so we all want to be successful in our careers. Okay. But what is a successful career? Let's again take a look at what we mean by a successful career. The first and the primary important thing which kind of categorizes a successful career is your ability to earn an honest living. It's your ability to pay the bills at the end of the month. So therefore, a successful career, a necessary condition of successful career is that it actually helps us earn money. However, it doesn't end there. There is an extremely robust, desirable criteria. Okay, and that very robust, desirable criteria is that as a part of your career or through your career, you will gain happiness and satisfaction. It is no less important. Okay, it's just that I've called it desirable, is that there is a certain fraction of people who may or may not get that satisfaction as a part of their career. But when you choose your career, my request is you keep this also in mind, that a career is not only about earning money, but it is also about being satisfied. But then satisfaction is a very loose term. So you'll have to kind of, figure out what gives you satisfaction. For some people, financial returns or material accumulation gives them satisfaction and happiness, and so be it. For some others, there may be other parameters to measure satisfaction or happiness. It can come in terms of recognition, that you get awards, you are recognized publicly by your peers and others, that you are a fantastic at whatever job you do. For some others, it is basically the ability to contribute back to society is what gives them satisfaction. For still others, it is their ability to reach out to others. So as a teacher in an academic institute, obviously I am very proud. It gives me great satisfaction when I am able to communicate scientific information in my class to my students, and I see their faces light up by the virtue of that understanding, and that I am able to communicate my understanding or transfer my understanding and my knowledge out to them, is obviously of immense satisfaction to me. So not only I earn money in terms of salary by doing this job, but I am able to make a difference to many others, obviously gives them satisfaction. But balanced with this satisfaction, also then there are certain requirements. So I can hope, I can aspire that I can say that I aspire to be or take up a certain job, but do I meet the necessary requirements of that job? So in parallel to kind of figuring out that what gives you satisfaction, what do you want to be, you should also be realistic. And actually look back at yourself and do a self-assessment about your strengths, about your weaknesses, that do you have what it takes to succeed in the chosen field? Have you undergone, or are you doing enough of professional development such that you can meet the expectations of that field? So what I mean by professional development, we'll discuss in the future slides. It will also involve making very informed decision making. It will involve being aware of the occupation that you are aspiring to attain. And for all of this, you have to explore a lot. You have to explore a lot of different scenarios, and only then you will be able to figure out, or you land up in a particular profession. So therefore, for designing your career or trying to figure out where you want to go, it needs a lot of planning and strategic implementation. Not that we all have, we get the opportunity, or I should say, the opportunity to actually plan a lot. For many of us, including me, we have kind of drifted into certain careers. There is obviously a lot of hope in us. We had a lot of aspirations, but it is not necessary that all these aspirations actually come to fruition. But even within the small scope of the cards that are handed to us, I still think planning and strategic implementation is of essence. So you should be able to, at every stage, justify why you're doing whatever you're doing. So our life is basically like a maze. Certainly our professional life is at the maze. And you can see the maze here. And the way I imagine is that most of you are at the center of the maze. Okay. And this is a bit of cartoon to kind of make it fun. And at the periphery of the maze, there are a lot of gems, okay, a lot of gems which you would want to pick. Now, there are no straight paths between you and the gems. Okay, so how do you go about doing it? Okay, so you people who are doing your bachelor's and master's course are obviously already enrolled for a degree program, right? You are enrolled for an academic program. As a part of that academic program, you're going to obviously study a lot. You gain a lot of knowledge. You gain a lot of knowledge. You do a lot of donkey work. Okay, these are all necessary evils of the story. You will sometimes get recognized. You will get awards. You will come first in class. Sometimes you will not come first in class. You will get a scholarship. Sometimes you will not get a scholarship. We just go on trying. And also, as a part of the program, we also meet and interact with various people. We communicate. We develop a lot of contacts and connections all over the world as a part of our profession and every profession today. Put all of this together and a bit of luck, the right opportunities at the right time, and then you can actually gain access to a successful career. But as far as you people are concerned, then what are those careers that one is speaking of? The most obvious thing which comes to the mind is academia. That you do your bachelor's, then you do your master's, you do a PhD, you go into research and come back to academia, which is what I have done, which is what my host today, Kaushik, has also done. We have both kind of gone on pursuing our fields of bachelor's and master's and doctorate, and then gone back to academia. But today, the field is much more diverse than saying only that is my career option. A huge amount of PhD graduates or master's graduates go back to research and development in the industry. A good fraction of them, a good fraction of my colleagues whom I have crossed path as a part of my master's and my PhD program, have gone into law, intellectual property rights. Mind you, they are all science graduates, all science graduate, masters, PhD holders who are actually now today practicing a career in intellectual property. There is a good many of my peers who have gone into policy making, who advise governments, who advise NGOs, who are part of think tanks, and who take part in regulatory affairs, in strategic planning, etc. A good part of my, not a very large part, but a small part of my peers have gone into science communication and technical writing. They have been illustrators, science illustrators. This is a breed of people which is a very small in number in India, but if you look internationally, there is a huge demand for science communication and technical writing. And the demand in India is growing pretty fast. So that also can be a career option. And finally, this age, the modern age of computation, is an age of data analytics. Big data is something, is a buzzword which you must have heard, everywhere. You have big data, which basically drives our allocation, be it from the central government to the funding agencies. You have big data, which basically does diagnostics in cancer treatment. You have big data, which is looking at how the current pandemic is evolving. You have big data, which basically looks at gravitational waves. And therefore, big data is an area, or data analytics rather, is an area which is which kind of is a field in itself today, requiring expertise and people from all kinds of scientific backgrounds, and no less in physics. So once you know that what are your areas, you basically try navigating, drifting through the maze, picking at every opportunity. For me, the opportunity has led me to academia, but I would definitely ask you to open your mind, okay, and look for the other opportunities. Look for the other opportunities which can lead you to any of the other career pathways, and it should not by any means be restricted to academia. So in my previous slide, I kind of got you through various kinds of careers, which I'm again summarizing now. So you see, you can have a research or academic based career, whether be it in academia or in industry, okay, which gives you more and more of hands-on technical research. But I'm keep asking you to keep your mind open for various other opportunities where your knowledge and your training in pure sciences as a part of the bachelor's course or the master's course is also extremely relevant. So these are two very different areas. And the third area which I have touched upon is very creative. I'm sure there are some of you who are listening to this webinar today who are a fantastic artists, who are painters, who are sketchers. Maybe some of you are cartoonists. Some of you are very good at articulating whatever you want to say. Others who are not so good at articulating. So all of us do not have the same skills always. So what I'm trying to put forward is that try to choose a career which maximizes exploitation of your skills, of your natural abilities, so to say. Hone them, perfect your abilities and the skills. Your skills may not always be at solving a very particular, mathematical equations or coding, but it can be much more diverse than that. As I said, you can be a fantastic painter, you can be a fantastic communicator. You may be fantastically good in actually writing. So for all of that, there is a place for all that talent. Try to choose a profession which exploits that or leverages that. It will give you a huge amount of satisfaction when your passion, whatever you are passionate about, can be actually translated to your career. So that's the view which I want to kind of portray to all of you. Okay. The other important part, which is very important for the future, certainly it is becoming increasingly important for your future, is to have flexible skills. It is very important that you go on updating your skills, that you are not stuck with the skills you have learned. So whenever you try to learn something, okay, try to see that you constantly go on updating your knowledge, your skills, etc. For example, I know many people during the past lockdown of the couple of months, starting from March, April, many people have actually turned to online courses to online courses to actually revisit their fundamentals, to gain advanced knowledge, to also kind of go into areas which they otherwise didn't have time to go. So my request is step out of your comfort zones. Step out of your comfort zones of whichever topic or subject you are very comfortable with, and try to pick up skills. Those skills can be picked up even by things like scientific editing, online tutoring, okay, improving your computational skill set, etc. This go a long way in actually delivering your career. So let's move on. I'll come to now topics which are much more less vague and much more relevant to you. Okay, so we will begin with the BSc graduates. Okay, now for the BSc graduates, if you want to stay in academics, okay, the obviously you can do a traditional master's program, okay, which I'm sure most of you have a lot of information about. But I wanted to draw your attention to something called an integrated PhD program. An integrated PhD program, which again, I'm sure most of you have heard. There is a whole range of institutes in India, which I have listed here, starting from IISc Bangalore to TIFR, the IISERs, certainly, IUCAC, Indian Institute of Astrophysics, NCBS Bangalore, SN Bose in Calcutta, IICS, and many of these institutes actually offer something known as the integrated PhD program. Okay, it is an integrated master's and PhD program. The IITs also have it, but it is a MSc plus PhD program. Each of these programs have their own nuances. They are slightly different, but all of them, the basic idea is for the first 2 years, you do coursework, master's coursework with a bit of research, and then you go on to do your PhD. Okay, the big advantage is that as a physics graduate, okay, you can pursue an integrated PhD program in chemistry, biology, mathematics, or physics. You are by no means restricted to only physics as your specialization. The physics perhaps is the most obvious choice, but if you look at the eligibility criteria for many of these research institutes across the board, okay, especially NCBS Bangalore, if you look at, which is an institute which focuses on biological sciences primarily, okay, or if you look at the National Brain Research Institute, again it tells you it focuses primarily on biological sciences. Even they would absolutely welcome a physics graduate, joining their integrated PhD program. Okay, this flexibility is lost for the master students. Once you go to join PhD after the masters, after you do your masters, in most cases this flexibility is lost. So therefore, if you are looking for diversification, I would urge the BSc graduates or the BSc students who are listening to this webinar to actually opt for these other programs in the other disciplines of chemistry, biology, mathematics. So how do you go about doing that? There are a couple of national level exams which are required for gaining admission to these courses. Okay, one of them is IIT JAM, okay, which is the entrance exam, the master's level entrance exam to the master's program and the MSc PhD programs of the IITs. Many of the other institutes subscribe to IIT JAM. So there are various different papers. In physics, chemistry, mathematics, statistics, biotechnology, etc. So you can choose an appropriate exam to actually clear your IIT JAM, and then go on to get admission. In the various programs. You can also write a national level exam known as the JEST. JEST, though, primarily gives you access to physics and theoretical computer science stream. But, for example, National Brain Research Center also subscribes to JEST. So you can gain admission to some of these institutes through JEST. You have the TIFR Graduate School Entrance Test, which gives you access or admission to the MSc PhD program of TIFR in Mumbai, Hyderabad, or Bangalore. And you also have the Homi Bhabha National Institute entrance exam, which gives you access to training programs after BSc to the DAE Institute, the Department of Atomic Energy institutes like BRC in Mumbai, etc. So there is a fair amount of opportunities waiting for you. Okay, what I want to put forward is, again, emphasizes that as a physics honors graduate, your scope is immense, certainly beyond physics. So please try to leverage that and try to see that whether you have a passion for chemistry or biology or mathematics that you want to pursue, and give your exams accordingly, and try to speak to people, visit these places, okay, as and when it is actually practical. Talk to the faculties there and try to figure out whether you have what it takes to kind of pursue a career in those fields. For the MSc graduates, those who are doing your masters in physics, I would say this table kind of summarizes a majority of the opportunities which are actually available in academics. So if you want to pursue a PhD in India, okay, you have these various national level exams or entrance requirements that you'll have to qualify. You can either do the CSIR UGC NET, or you can aspire to kind of be eligible for the Inspire Fellowship. You can write again the JEST exam. You can write you can actually apply for the Prime Minister's Research Fellowship, which is a very prestigious program which has been launched over the past couple of years. You can also write the GATE examination. That's an eligibility test, or you can write any of the individual entrance exams of individual institutes. Okay, for example, IUCAC has the INAT. The Chennai Mathematical Institute has the CMI admissions exam. The TIFR Grad School has its own exam. I have given the links here. Even Calcutta University has a CURET, which helps you gain entrance or admission to the PhD programs after your masters. I have tried to be as inclusive as possible in trying to give you information here. To give you information here. So please try to take this information on board and decide your future step. Okay. Apart from these academic opportunities, which will obviously become evident to you at the end of your BSc or at the end of your MSc Masters program, while you are doing your BSc and your Masters program, it is also relevant that you do certain amount of professional development. Okay, so what do I mean by professional development? What I mean by professional development in one word is pursuing internships. Now, these internships are basically can be done over summer intervals, winter breaks, as and when, whatever time you actually get. You can get in touch with people in the industry. You have to reach out to people in academia, and you can pursue any of these summer projects or internships as and when they come up. They may not be always research projects. They can also happen in terms of summer schools or workshops, which can be pursued. I would also particularly like to draw your attention to a couple of websites which have become very relevant over the last couple of years. These are all websites which actually give you information about internships, and especially internships beyond academia, which extend beyond academia into industry. So I know for a fact that all these industries in India, industries like Tata Steel, Philips, Shell, Nestle, and Bosch, I've included the relevant pages again for your reference here. So you can collect it either from me or you can collect it from Kaushik, to whom I have forwarded this presentation. All these places are continuously actively looking for interns. They are not always exclusive for science graduates. In many cases, they will be actually looking for engineering graduates. But there is a huge scope also for science graduates. When I speak, recently I was speaking to people from Tata Steel, and they always welcome people from with a background in basic sciences, with a bit of research where they want to get exposure to research, which is research and development, which is product oriented. Okay, not blue sky research, not fundamental research as we do in academia, but much more applied research. They are looking for people, science graduates, and that is a wonderful opportunity, which I would again ask all of you to cultivate. Reach out to these people, write emails to these people, contact these people out there in the companies. Do go through their websites. I have just given you a couple of examples. This is by no means complete. So just do this, and you will actually get, I'm sure you'll get a lot of positive response. This advice is also borne by the fact that by the current statistics of India, over 46% of internships actually turn into job offers or placements. So therefore, it goes a long way. You will build contacts. You'll build contacts with these people. Okay. It is also a way of diversifying your scope. That what are you good for? You will probably gain exposure to things which I am not able to tell you, which you are not able to imagine. All of this will happen. So, for example, again, lot of newspapers and magazines are looking for science graduate to intern with them for scientific content writing. This is becoming big business. So therefore, think out of the box. Okay, don't think in the traditional ways, and try to reach out to as many diverse areas as your passion, as your interest allows you to, and that will all lead to professional development. As a part of the professional development, I would also like to outline various academic programs, very entrenched academic programs, which allows you, again, gives you the scope of interacting, networking, okay, and gaining exposure. I'm sure, again, most of these things you have heard of, if not all, then at least parts of it you people have heard of. So I've again included as much information as possible from my side to help you go about navigating the scope. These are the international opportunities. If you actually go to the website of most of the embassies of the countries that you would want to visit, or you would want to gain an opportunity in, they will have an academic section, exchange section, a cultural section, which will be able to help you out. So some of the more common ones that we encounter today are basically the DAD-WISE scholarship or the fellowships, which are primarily for master's programs, and therefore internships and master's programs are therefore very relevant to the bachelor's as well as the master's students. Okay, and often they lead on to PhD offers. And so therefore the green color coding is for things which will help you, and the red is basically for saying that there is no obvious scope for doing that. So for example, the Khorana scholarship, which is jointly funded by the Indian and the US government, is basically an internship program, which may or may not lead on to a master's or a PhD program, but will certainly give you access and information. Same goes for the SN Bose Scholars Program, the Commonwealth Scholarship, which is for a master's program or a PhD program, so which is relevant both for the bachelor's and the master's students. And also look up for opportunities like the Lindau Nobel Laureates meeting and the post-Lindau opportunities, okay, which can give you internships and even master's admissions in some cases. The international opportunities are also at par, backed up by the national opportunities, which are no less lucrative. Okay, you have the Visiting Scientist Program, or the VSP of IUCAC, which is an internship program, but which also serves as a pre-selection for PhD. It is open for master's students, obviously, and so therefore you should be able to cultivate this. And it gives you an added opportunity to get a PhD position in future. You have the Science Academy's summer program. The 3 National Academy of Sciences in India have come together, and they offer this Science Academy summer program for students in bachelor's as well as master's courses. You have the KVPY Scholars Program open to KVPI scholars. You have the Inspire Scholars Program. You have many summer internship of individual academic institutes. The IISER certainly have. IISER Trivandrum has its own summer intake. Okay, so approach these institutes. And this is all a part of your professional development. It is no good just sticking to your exams, your books, etc. You have to do all of this. It's absolutely, the experience is absolutely invaluable. You should also approach many of these public sector research labs like DRDO, ISRO, BRC, the CSIR labs, okay, who also entertain summer programs. Often they are paid, sometimes they are unpaid, but very often they are paid. So therefore, it will at least meet your living expenses, those 2 or 3 months that you spend in these labs. Let's move on to some things which are, out of the box. Okay, so a career in your chosen field is probably what is very obvious to you. But I also want to point out a couple of slides that you see there are very non-linear opportunities waiting for a physics graduate, a BSc graduate, a physics master's graduate. Okay. The first out-of-the-box slide which I am showing you is basically known as a specialization known as forensic sciences. So I'm sure all of you know what is forensic sciences. Okay, it's extremely exciting. It's about solving murder cases. It's about solving bomb plots, etc., and things like that. and we need very skilled scientists to actually analyze those clues, that data, that information, that material, and then come to a conclusion. Okay, so again, forensic sciences is new to India. It's a stream which has actually a branch which has kind of developed over the last decade, but now there are a lot of opportunities for physics graduates. You have the Institute of Forensic Sciences, which is an university, is a part of the Gujarat Forensic Sciences University, which offers master's program in forensic sciences, master's programs in multimedia forensics, okay, and also a PhD program. You have the National Institute of Criminology and Forensic Sciences, which offers a master's program in criminology and MSc Forensic Sciences. You have a private sector institute, university, the Amity Institute of Forensic Sciences, with bachelor's and master's programs. And as you can see, your job opportunities are essentially the state and central forensic science and research labs, the private labs, the Central Bureau of Investigation, the police, the customs, the detective security agencies, food toxicology, the pharmaceutical companies, banks, insurance companies. And so you have a huge scope waiting for you if you pursue a career in forensic sciences. So for example, I have always been very passionate about forensic sciences and detective novels and all of that. So therefore, why not? If you are passionate about that, solving puzzles and clues in a very scientific manner, not in a philosophical manner, then this is something which you might want to consider as your future. Another very non-trivial or out of the box, a career for a physics graduate can actually be oceanography. Oceanography has been practiced for quite some time. In many cases, it probably lacks the limelight that it actually deserves. But this is again a couple of institutes in India which actually offers a master's program in marine sciences and a PhD program in marine sciences. You have the National Institute of Oceanography in Goa, which is basically a CSIR lab, and you can actually gain internships and PhD in there. You don't have a master's program. The Cochin University of Science and Technology in Kerala, IQAC, has a very evolved master's program in oceanography, ocean technology, atmospheric sciences, metrology, and a PhD program, which you might consider. The Calcutta University itself has a Department of Marine Sciences with a master's program in marine sciences and a PhD program. I was actually having a look at the master's program, and it's really fantastic master's program to actually pursue. But then you have other labs in India which are listed at the bottom three, which also gives you opportunity to kind of explore your scope in oceanography, in marine sciences. It's again it would be a very rewarding career for those of you who are naturalists, who are very interested in nature, and technology which is born out of nature or inspired by nature, technology development to investigate nature. This would be a fantastic field. I'm nearing the end of my talk. I've also kind of thrown in a couple of wildcards. You see, I've thrown in a couple of wildcards as your prospective careers. You might actually want to look at a fantastic program which is called a postgraduate diploma in business analytics, jointly offered by ISI Kolkata, IIT Kharagpur, and IIM Calcutta. Okay, they together offer this program in business analytics. And again, they welcome physics graduates. And so therefore, that might be a very good opportunity for you. I know many of these opportunities, many of my peers from even way back when I was in doing my bachelor's, actually went on to do master's programs in business analytics and have very successful careers. So therefore, that is a thing to look for. IIT Kharagpur has again two very interesting programs which take in BSc physics graduates. Okay, it's one is a MSc PhD. Again, it's an integrated program in medical physics and nuclear medicine. And BSc graduates of physics are absolutely eligible for it. You'll have to go through the JAM program, IIT JAM entrance exam. And And I think it'll be fantastic, to look at the confluence of medicine and physics, as has been envisaged as a part of those programs. So have a look at that. IIT Kharagpur also has a LLB honors degree in intellectual property rights, which I have told you about before. It requires a BSc degree in the basic sciences, so therefore physics honors degree is absolutely adequate for that. And you should actually look at that program if you are legally minded. Two other things which have caught my eye in recent years. I am not very knowledgeable about these programs, but they are worth exploring. Certainly have a look. You have MPhil and PhD programs in science policy studies offered by the Center for Studies in Science of the Jawaharlal Nehru University in Delhi. So this is a MPhil/PhD level program. So it's open for master's students. So if you are really oriented towards public policy making and administration, you should also try to look at these programs. Science journalism, as I mentioned to you earlier, is a very nascent and upcoming area of in India. Internationally, it is very robust and well established. So you can look at foreign universities if you want to pursue your masters abroad. But within India, I know of no such program, well-established program. But nevertheless, there is something called the Indian Science Communication Society, which actually offers a training course in science journalism. Maybe it's worth looking at. I don't have first-hand knowledge, or I don't know anyone who has actually done it. But I nevertheless thought to include it in this wildcard list, so that it makes maybe it makes a difference for your career. So with that, I would like to conclude my talk for today. Again, just to conclude, try to always balance your aspirations vis-a-vis your strengths. If they match, I think it will be extremely satisfying. Concentrate a lot on how you write your curriculum. It has to be crisp. It has to be very well formatted. So spend some time in actually writing your CV. It actually goes a long way. Try to strategize your goals. How you achieve your goals. Okay, very important. Pay attention to your professional development, and your development or your entire undergraduate life should not, or postgraduate life should not be restricted to just doing your curriculum, what is there in your curriculum. Okay, explore beyond that, much beyond that. Constantly update your skills. I would also ask you to kind of interact with as many people as you can. Knock on as many doors that you can get access to. Be very confident. Don't be shy. Okay, be outgoing, and try to try to create as many connections as you can. Networking in today's world is very, very, very important. Lastly, be extremely creative. Write, draw, communicate. Okay, whatever helps you put your ideas forward, please try to do that. Be as creative as you can. Okay, and that is also central to having a successful career. In the end, whatever you are, be a good one. Try to do justice to your career, and hopefully I wish that all of you get the opportunities which you very rightly deserve. My last slide, again, you can collect it from Kaushik is a collection of links. Giving you information about how to do a job search, how to write your CV, how to communicate with people, how to network, and various such things. Okay, these are again very interesting articles that I have come across. And therefore I thought of sharing with you. They're very important articles, so please, if you get time and depending upon your interest, please go through them and try to. Hopefully, it will benefit you immensely. Okay, so I will end my talk here, And thank you. This is the logo of IISER Trivandrum and animation of the logo. So I'll end my talk here, and I'll just wait for your questions. Hopefully, it actually has served some purpose in helping you figure out your career. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Mitra, for this informative lecture. We are now open for the question and answer session. You can write your questions in the chat box. Dr. Mitra?
Yes, please. I mean, you can. I'm looking at that private chat window. So yeah, I'm absolutely okay with it. Okay, so there seems to be a lot of questions which have already been which have already been posted. I'll just give me some time. I'll just go through them. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so somebody has asked me, tell us about the about opportunities in the Shreyas Rao has asked me about opportunities in the fields of electronics and communication. So again, it is so I was trying to give you a perspective from the point of view of pure sciences rather than much of engineering. So Kaushik has also told me that there is another follow-up session coming up at some stage, which will focus much more on in the engineering aspects or the engineering opportunities. Yeah. So I have specifically stuck to opportunities which are still towards pure the pure sciences research and master's programs and things like that. So apologies for that. There are absolutely various opportunities. If you look at the universities, there are various programs which allows post BSc students to actually go into electronics and communication, which are obviously very, very important fields. So, but I hope much more of that will be covered in the next talk, which Kaushik is actually planning.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Okay, I'll just go to the next question. I'm just forgive me. I'm just scrolling through. Okay, so somebody, Ankana Kaur, has asked about projects after MSc, not summer project. Okay, she wants information about projects after MSc. Okay, so post MSc, as far as projects in academia are concerned, okay, there is there is a huge scope actually, because most of us academics actually have our own research projects which are funded by agencies like DST, the Department of Science and Technology, which are the Department of Biotechnology, the Government of India, and private players. Okay, so most of us actually are well funded research wise, and it allows us to actually host interns and project fellows as a part of our research. Okay, the eligibility for most of these project fellows are either JRF qualification in one of the national eligibility tests, at least GATE. Okay, so even if you are not enrolled officially for a PhD, you can join these projects. You should keep an eye on the opportunities section of most of these academic institutes, the research institutes. And if you do, as a part of their projects, their ongoing projects, they will be recruiting as junior research fellows. They will be recruiting as research associates, research assistants, project fellows. Okay, a lot of people on various projects. So then, if your expertise, your interest meets that of what is being required as a part of that project, you can absolutely do that, which is also a very important part of your professional development. Though it is not a degree program that you enroll for, you actually gain a lot of exposure, contacts as a part of doing those projects. Okay, so yeah, so Ankana, hopefully I have answered your question. If not, you can write back, or even email me. I'll be happy to give you more information regarding that. Okay. Okay, so I'm getting a reasonable amount of appreciative comments. So I hopefully it's actually serving the purpose that people are actually latching on, and yeah, latching on to this. So I'm still reading the comments pretty fast. Okay, sorry. Able to work as a. Okay, so some people are asking me, students of life sciences, they is basically asking me, students of life sciences, if they want to opt for a career in biophysics, what subjects must be there in the undergraduate course? So as a part of, if you are a student of life sciences, I would say what comes very important or very useful in biophysics is some amount of analytic skills. So any courses which actually gives you analytic skills. Okay, it may not be a absolutely hardcore physics course. Okay, that's not very important, but it can be a course in statistics if you have mathematics as a add-on, or a subsidiary, or a minor subject. Okay, or a past subject, as we used to call it. Okay, so it can be a whole range of topics actually can be useful. Statistics, any course on statistics is extremely important for things like bioinformatics. Okay, computational skills again for bioinformatics is extremely useful and essential. So therefore, while I would not like to give you a list, because the eligibility requirements for each of these individual courses will be vastly different, but very globally, what I can tell you is any courses in physics or mathematics which develops your analytical skills, okay, number crunching skills, are absolutely important for biophysics. It also, biophysics today encompasses a wide variety of things. Okay, so therefore there is no one word answer. Again, Mithu, if you want to write back to me, probably I can give you much more specific answers to your queries, but hopefully this is helpful. Okay, somebody has asked me, what is science communication? Okay, so science communication is, as I have been harping on, is an extremely interesting field. Okay, so what does science communication encompass? Science communication encompasses all those people, the journalists who actually write a science article about scientific discoveries, for example, for the public, who are the non-trained consumers of that information. Okay, the public at large, all of us are not trained or do not have expertise in all areas of science. So for example, if somebody tries to tell me intricate details about DNA multiplication, I will obviously be lost. I lack the expertise to comprehend the science or the scientific terms which are required to kind of explain DNA multiplication. Okay, or the PCR technique that is being used so ubiquitously today for detection of the coronavirus. Okay, so not many people, the public at large, may not have certainly doesn't have the adequate knowledge to actually understand or comprehend the PCR technique. But you see, it is essential that they comprehend to some extent. They at least to come to terms with the pandemic situation. It helps them to comprehend their situation, what is at stake. So therefore, there has to be these people, the science communicators. Okay, that's one role of the science communicators, to take out the technical terms, okay, and still be able to communicate the information to the public, to the non-experts. So they perform a very crucial role in dissemination of this scientific knowledge. Very recently, the gravitational waves were discovered, okay, a couple of years back. And if you actually kind of, you try to explain all the technicalities of gravitational wave discovery to the general public, it is a nightmare. So some people, the science communicators, the good communicators, then the task is on them to actually communicate. It's very essential that we communicate this information to people, the parents, the school kids, so that they actually increase their scope. It opens their eyes. It gives them information that what is there out there in the world and beyond. So you see, science communicators are a very important class of people which we need in today's world. In India, unfortunately, it's in dire short supply. Internationally, they are really treasured. India, it has a short supply. There are no established training programs, etc. But if your scope extends beyond India, there are a huge number of courses. Look for them: science journalism, science communication. You will actually get it. Okay. Yeah. So I would probably end at that. Okay, so there is a very general question from Tuhin Chakravarti, which says that, what are the basic skills required to become a physicist? Well, it depends on what you define as a physicist. Okay, but I think again, kind of right back to me. I can answer your questions one to one. It's a rather broad topic to answer.
Joy, may I interrupt?
Yeah, please.
Actually, I want just to concentrate on the questions that are being displayed on the screen. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Oh, which is to I had scrolled back. Okay. So please guide me how I'll be able to work as a researcher or scientist in ISRO. Okay. So ISRO obviously has various centers all throughout India. There are centers in Trivandrum, which is known as the Vikram Sarabhai Space Center. ISRO has a big presence in Bangalore. Okay. So the easiest thing to do is actually go to the websites of these institutes. Go to the websites of these institutes and look for the internship opportunities. That's the first place, or the easiest place where you can actually latch on with. Having said that, ISRO also has an academic institute called the Indian Institute of Space Technology, IIST, which is also based in Trivandrum. Okay, a few kilometers from IISER here. Okay, and they have PhD programs, master's level programs, and also internship opportunities to kind of suit a wide clientele. Okay, so therefore, please look up these opportunities. Please look up these opportunities and go to their web pages. Contact these people individually, and I'm sure you'll get these answered. What are the basic requirements for research in robotics and AI? Robotics and AI, you will have to. So if you are a student of physics background, you will have to buffet your knowledge doing a course in computation. It requires a certain amount of formal training in computation, in coding and computational techniques. Okay, so probably directly transitioning out to AI is not really a practical thing to happen just after BSc, but BSc physics. But if you want to put in that extra effort to actually undergo a formal training in computation, okay, or computer science, even theoretical computer science, that is certainly a future. If you want to go into robotics, which is much more engineering or mechanistic, you might want to look for a suitable BE program, which you want to which you might want to enroll in, or after your masters, you'll get some opportunities through GATE to pursue a career in robotics, much more of a research career in robotics than otherwise. But that would be the right juncture then to diversify. But whichever way it is, you will need some formal training in computer sciences. Okay, so try to gain that either by internship, research experience, or formal courses. Okay, the opportunities for nuclear physics in India. Okay, so the vast opportunities for nuclear physics in India probably are the DAE institutes. Okay, nuclear physics is an aspect which has been held in the grip of the government. Okay, it has not been privatized. Okay, so therefore you are far better off looking at Shah Institute of Nuclear Physics, BARC, HRI, the Institute of Mathematical Sciences in Chennai. Okay, IPR, Institute of Plasma Research in Gujarat. Okay, these are the places you would want to focus on. Okay, so again, go to their websites. Go to their websites. BARC, which I briefly mentioned as a part of my talk, BARC has a fantastic training program. Okay, many of the illustrated nuclear scientists of India today, including the chairman of BARC, Srikumar Raichaudhuri, is a graduate of the BARC training program. Okay, so therefore, if you want to, nuclear physics is basically your forte, then I would definitely advise you to look in those directions. Okay, for the experimentally minded and also for the theoretical minded, whichever way it is, nuclear physics is something which is really coming up, and it is going to grow. Okay, you have the large collider in CERN. You have a similar collider being built in the US, and therefore even the theoretical aspects, which by the way encompasses a lot of big data analytics, is going to kind of be prominent on the scientific map of the world. So therefore, if your interest is in nuclear physics, whichever aspect of nuclear particle physics, okay, look for these opportunities. Okay, and I'm sure you'll gain some. Okay, skills absolutely necessary and desirable for a career in fundamental research. It's a fantastically difficult question to answer. I would just say from my personal, this is absolutely a personal take on it. Okay, you have to love to have fun in your life. Okay, you just need to, you can't be very bookish. Okay, you can't just afford to be very bookish that you have given a prescription and I have followed from number 1 to number 10. If that's your forte, no, I don't think you should really stick to fundamental research. Okay, where the criteria is that your brain should tell you that I have to think out of the box. Okay, and constantly be eager to move out of your comfort zone. Okay, this is purely from my personal experience. I'm sure there will be a lot of stalwarts who would say, no, you require a very formal training. Okay, formal training is very important, but it is equally important to be adventurous. So if you are adventurous, then I would say yes, come into fundamental physics research, certainly. Prospects in quantum computing. Quantum computing is a very evolving and a very nascent field. So certainly theoretical quantum computing has quite a few takers in India. If you look at HRI, the Harishchandra Research Institute in Allahabad, or Prayagraj as they call it now, HRI, if you look at, even a couple of my colleagues at IISER Thiruvananthapuram do work on quantum computation. There are people in SN Bose working on quantum computation. There are people in ISC Bangalore working on quantum computation. Much of the effort is theoretical. So if it is theoretical quantum computation that you're actually interested in, then I'm sure Kaushik himself will be able to kind of give you some amount of information on that, far better than me at least. I'm just reiterating whatever I go on hearing from my colleagues. That's not a field I work in. But I'm much more fascinated by the experimental quantum computation. I'm eagerly waiting how that takes off in India. Okay, even though I don't work on quantum computation, but many of the tools that will actually be employed are very dear to me. So therefore, as of now, theoretical quantum computation, please look for these institutes in India. I'm sure you'll get a good amount of information. Very good question, Sayak Patra. Okay, the statistics of research in a field of instrumentation astronomy in India. Okay, is it really good for doing PhD in India? Deep space network astronomy. Again, something not which I do, but I have been reasonably associated with the LIGO program, the LIGO India program, as an outsider, not as an insider, but I've associated with it, and to some extent. And yes, instrumentation astronomy in India is again an upcoming field. Okay, it's an upcoming field. If you look at the institutes, I did partially mention IUCAC. Okay. And the TIFR and the TIFR Institute in Pune. If you look at both these places, okay, the instrumentation astronomers are not large in number yet, but it is slowly building up. It is slowly building up. Needless to say that if you are really serious about it, I would certainly say to gain the basic training, look abroad at this stage. Okay, things are coming up. Okay, but opportunities are limited. Okay, so if you diversify your scope, if you get the opportunities, look abroad, you will kind of be able to leapfrog faster. Okay, leapfrog faster, and then be really primed for recruitment back into India. Okay, as and when those opportunities go on opening up, it's an area which is going to definitely open up. What are the opportunities in the defense sector? Tuhin, I am not very sure what are the opportunities in the defense sector. Okay, so I would rather not answer that question. Okay, DRDO labs. Okay, so my experience would be only restricted to the DRDO labs and the research aspects of DRDO labs. So I don't have a lot of information, unfortunately. I'll make note of that, and probably the next time I do something like this, I will definitely try to keep that in mind. Okay, radiophysics and radiology. Radiophysics and radiology, especially radio diagnostics, is absolutely vital, Shobhik. So one very important program I highlighted was that offered by IIT Kharagpur. Okay, so IIT Kharagpur has this program on medicinal physics and applications of physics in medicine. Okay. And that is a very interesting program. So I would certainly ask you to kind of look at in detail. That's a very unique program. I don't think there are many others like that. Internationally, yes. Nationally, perhaps not. So therefore, have a look at that. Okay, and you can write back to me if you need more information. There are institutes in Trivandrum. One of the very famous institutes is called the Sri Chitra Institute of Medicine, Science, and Technology. So Sri Chitra does a lot of radio diagnostics and developing tools for radio diagnostics. Okay, unfortunately, that's a research institute. So you can get internships, you can get PhD placements with them, but not a degree program. Okay, but please write back to me. I think I'll be able to give you contacts on that quite easily. Shomita basically is asking what is the importance of project in joining a PhD program. I think, Shomita, it is fairly important. Okay, I didn't do it. I didn't require to do it personally because I was a part of an integrated PhD program. So I didn't do a PhD. I did an integrated PhD where I did my master's in a research institute and then went on to do my PhD. But if you are doing a master's in an environment where you have limited research exposure, I think that needs to be rectified. Okay, and the easiest way to rectify that would essentially be to do a project, summer projects, okay, or short-term projects in a research institute or an academic institute, better still, so that you actually understand what research is all about. Believe me, when I kind of exited my bachelor's program, I don't think I really had a lot of understanding of what research entails. Okay, it was very limited. So therefore, if that's the case with you, then it is very important. It is very important that you actually get some exposure and be sure, because research, a PhD is a lot of commitment at the prime of your life. Okay, so it should not happen that you join a PhD program and then say, well, this is not really what gives me the kick. Okay, this is not what gives me happiness. Shomita is asking another question, which is what is the importance of plasmonics and surface plasma physics in future? It's a quantum state of matter. Okay, plasmons and surface plasma physics. Okay, it's a quantum state of matter. It has huge applications all over the place. So for example, if I ask you a question, that can you do artificial photosynthesis? Okay, that's how the plants prepare food. That's how the plants prepare food, and that's what feeds us all. including the animals we non-vegetarians actually survive on. So therefore, if scientists can do artificial photosynthesis, which nature does very easily, okay, you have to look at these surface effects. How electrons get transferred at the surface of materials, at the surface of molecules, at the surface of pigments, at the surface of solid-state materials, at the surface of scaffolds. Think of the leaf and you will get your answers. Okay, charge transfer has to happen. Oxidize and reduce reactions, molecules, materials. And therefore, it is vital, and the transfer will happen through the surfaces. Okay, so if you want to, this is just one example. I can rattle off 5 more examples. But if you are interested in charge transfer, okay, how it happens between different entities, which is a part of oxidation reduction reactions, photosynthesis, okay, energy generation, energy storage, okay, charge storage. It's absolutely important that you understand surface plasma, plasmonics. Yeah. So therefore, from fundamental physics research to the cutting edge applied research, you just need it. Okay, that's how I would put an answer to your question.
Okay, actually there are many more questions, but we have to stop.
Yeah, we have to draw a line.
At some point. We have to draw a line and stop somewhere. Okay. So the audience is free to write to Dr. Mitra regarding their questions, and the link for the PPT is being shared on the chat box and even in our college website. Please go through it if you want to go through it once again. Okay. I now request Dr. Ruma Ray of Physics Department to give the vote of thanks to the speaker. Okay.
Good afternoon, all. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. On behalf of Physics Department, Gurudas College, I take this opportunity to propose vote of thanks to those who have directly and indirectly contributed to this webinar, Career Opportunities for Students in Physics, organized by the Department of Physics, Gurudas College. First of all, I would like to thank our distinguished speaker, Dr. Joy Mitra, for his excellent presentation and for making it interesting and meaningful. We are really enlightened with this illuminating speech. I would also express profound gratitude to our principal, Dr. Moushumi Chatterjee, for providing encouragement and support. I'd like to thank the head of the department, Physics Department, Dr. Kaushik Nundi, along with all faculty members of the department and IQAC of Gurudas College for organizing this seminar. A special thanks to our librarian, Dr. Joydeep Chando, without whose constant help and technical expertise, the webinar would not have been possible. Finally, thanks goes to the wonderful audience comprising mostly of students of physics and faculty members of not only from our college but also from other colleges for making the webinar a grand success. Once again, I thank you all whose name I fail to mention but whose contribution is equally valuable in organizing the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
This concludes our webinar. Thank you. Okay.